These are stories of outdoor adventure and expert advice from folks with calloused hands. I'm James Nash, and this is the Six Ranch Podcast. All right, we're back with the episode that I promised you from Sean Van Zyl. We're here at Fort Governor's Estate. I'm leaving tomorrow. Regrettably, I could live in Africa. I love it here so much.
It's
so much. Oh, it does. Yeah. You know, when I first hunted here, met the PH in Dar es Salaam. We're going to fly out to the Selous, and he asked me how old I was, and I told him this was 11 years ago. And he said, "You're too young for this." He said, "This is going to ruin your entire life. Just stay here, chase girls, have fun at the bar. Don't do this. You're not ready yet." And I could tell that he was like, 2/3 serious.
Yeah.
And it does, deeply affect you. And I think that since then, at least in business, at least half of my decisions are binary of like, does this get me closer to hunting in Africa again or not? And if it doesn't, I don't do it. Yeah, it's a strong deciding factor. This week has been phenomenal. But I want to start off talking about this new concept.
Yes.
This is going to be something that, as far as I know, is completely unique within the continent. So talk me through it a little bit.
Yeah, it's totally unique. I don't know anybody else that does it. We are going to start a backcountry hunt. We're going to launch a backcountry package for the people that were asking about hunting, but saying that it's too easy and you're just driving on a truck and stuff, which it isn't. That's not the way we hunt. We generally use the vehicle to get from point A to B, and then we start glassing, and then we walk. And we've done miles. Goodness me, we've done miles this week.
Yeah, we had 10-mile days.
Yeah, absolutely. So we generally hunt to the person's strength.
Yep.
But as you mentioned, there are guys that are wanting to do it the way they're used to doing it at home. So we are starting a backcountry hunt where it's a 5-day hunt, 7-day package. You fly in, we'll fetch you at the airport. And it's quintessential the same as you would be hunting in America. We'll get you here, get your backpacks on, and you walk from here, from the lodge, and you set off into the 30,000 acres. And included in our package is going to be a kudu. You'll camp and hunt in the bush. You'll sleep the nights there. We'll put food parcels or take your fresh food. You've got to keep in mind, this is South Africa. It can get to 32 degrees Celsius, which is, I'm not too sure what it is in Fahrenheit, probably
80s.
Yeah. So things spoil you quicker than you'd realize.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't want somebody to get that. So we'll have fresh food. We'll replenish the ice so that at least you can have a nice cold beer at the end of the day, or Coke, or whatever cool drinks you drink.
Have some water out there.
Have some water, yeah. Water is a very big and very important thing, and people will learn that when you're walking out here.
Yep.
You've been drinking 3-4 liters a day.
Yeah, 4.5 liters a day.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're going to take off from here with your packs just like you would for an elk or a deer hunt, and go, some miles out into the bush and set up, and you'll be in a place where a short distance from where you're camping, you're going to be able to glass into these big thicket valleys and be glassing for kudu, and then figure out a plan for your approach and for your hunt. And you'll have a PH with you?
Yes, you'll have a PH with you. You'll have to, because there's buffalo around, there's leopard.
Right.
Yep.
So if you want, sure enough, wild Africa, and you want to go and live out in it, and you want a backpack style hunt, this is it. And you're going to be able to hunt a big kudu bull in some big, cool, beautiful country. And it's going to be just a phenomenal experience for people. What is this package going to cost?
$3,500.
$3,500. You'll get a week-long kudu hunt that's backcountry with a guide, and you'll be living in a tent and doing it right.
Packing the meat out.
Yep. You'll have to pack the meat out to the closest road,
Yep.
and then we can get a Land Cruiser in there to get it out. And, for the detail stuff that you want help with, that PH is going to be there to help you with caping and meat handling and all that stuff. It'll be a tremendous learning opportunity for people as well.
Yep.
So they can kind of take the skills they've developed hunting backcountry, whether that's in Alaska or in the American West, and then see if they can apply those skills to a kudu. And, for my money, the kudu acts a lot like elk.
You called it the elk of Africa.
Yeah, I think it is Africa's elk. Yeah.
Africa's elk. I think you're spot on.
Yeah. They just don't bugle.
No, they don't.
Yeah. But they're prettier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They bark. They have a bark, but that's an alarm call.
Yeah. So super cool opportunity. How can people get a hold of you for that one?
They'll have to go onto our website, huntfortgovernors.com, and just make a inquiry, and then we'll take it from there. We'll get all the details across via the internet or email.
Okay.
WhatsApp. They can WhatsApp us. Our numbers will all on the website.
Too easy.
Yeah.
Okay. Enough of that. I want to move on to hunting stories. You've got some great ones. I've got some decent ones. I want to go through this kind of by species. And I'll start out by saying that a lot of what's talked about as dangerous hunting in Africa is the rarity, is the rare exception. And that at no point during my time here have I felt unsafe whatsoever. However, some of these animals are dangerous, and dangerous situations can happen.
Yeah.
And if you've been guiding for 25 years, like you have,
Yeah.
some things have happened.
A few things have happened.
Yeah. So let's talk some critters. Let's start with leopard.
Oh.
Because that is a feared animal. I think the fear that people have for leopard is underrated in America.
Yeah.
But that's a dangerous one here when things start to go wrong.
Yeah, when things start to go wrong, they can go really wrong. Nobody who's hunted leopard before they'll tell you the sound is so intimidating. It's got a very deep growl, and if you hear it, it's instant goosebumps, and you know that this is real. This is no joke. They move like a rocket. They're super fast. They don't always come straight. They zigzag when they're coming.
That's helpful.
Oh, it's scary, I tell you. I'm thinking of one now. We got charged by a leopard once, and a lot of guys shoot rifle, but a lot of guys also prefer shotgun. Some guys will say this is good, that's good, pros and cons. But shotgun's very, very good for leopard. We use LG, large game.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's 5 or 6 little lead balls in it.
Okay, so like double up buck somewhere in that range,
something like that. And I had a leopard flying towards me, and I had to drop it at about 9 yards. I had goosebumps for about 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And when I get a big fright, I don't. It's probably just with the years. I don't. I start giggling when I get a big fright. So I have a giggle that doesn't go away for a little while.
Well, it feels good to be alive still after something like that.
Yes.
So what was the situation leading up to that charge?
You see, games all, it's all injury related.
Yeah.
So it was again an injury related follow up.
Yeah.
And that's the situation we ended up in.
Okay. So, we all know that not every shot lands where it should.
Yeah.
And that is the nature of it. And we're also not alone in this. Today, when we're out looking at animals, we saw a zebra that had scratch marks from a lion going from the base of its tail all the way down its left leg down to its hocks.
Yeah.
So the lion misses too.
Yeah.
Right. It is in the nature of predation that sometimes the prey gets away with a near miss.
Yes.
And humans are not a perfect hunter, so sometimes we wound stuff and we have to follow it up.
Yeah.
And that is often, as you'll hear in a lot of these stories, the situation that leads into these high-speed encounters. So somebody makes a less than ideal shot, the animal's wounded, and now it's in a threatened situation where it's going to be defending its life because it might not be able to get away, or it's so mad that it's going to take things in another direction.
For me, it's more about the ethics.
Yeah.
I would rather get into trouble for following up on something that was injured than leaving it to suffer.
Sure.
And that's the type of those guys that say, oh, it's wounded, thanks very much, I'll come back tomorrow, or I'm not coming back, or just leave it like it is. That's not the type of people we are.
No.
You and I both are. I've got to know you quite well over the last couple of, 10 days we've been together.
Yeah.
And so that, keeping that in mind, the ethics behind it, you go in there to try and rectify is probably the right word, to try and do everything as ethically and as cleanly as possible.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's something as small as you flinched, or something, the wind blew, or
you hit a limb you didn't see.
Yeah, you can't. Nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
But we try and be perfect when it's this, because being in the industry we're in, if you can do something cleanly, it keeps you clean.
Yeah.
And that's just the way to be, I think.
So this leopard gets wounded. It's not, dead under a tree like you want a leopard to be.
Went into a cave.
It went into a cave.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's there's only one way out of most caves.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the part you got to stand in.
Straight in my direction.
So just tell me some details. What happened here?
So it was injured and went into a cave, and then it came out. It was it sat quietly. The thing with most cats that I find, and most, when you're hunting a predator, they generally, if things go quiet, they come out to see what's going on so that they can move away. Mm-hmm. And I found, I'm quite sure it'll be like that with lions, mountain lion.
Yeah.
So we were walking there, following up, and I heard a growl, and so backed up, got it really, really quiet, and I just waited, and then I could see the feet coming out quietly towards me. Then it stopped. So I had a calculated risk that I took, and so it worked out. I shot with a LG. I shot because I could see about half, and keeping in mind there's already injured. That and the impact spooked it enough to charge, and then I finished it with a second shot.
Yeah.
And
out of a double barrel shotgun where your second shot is your last shot.
I didn't think it through very well.
One way or another.
It sank in afterwards. I just thought, you're stupid. Your mother would slap you. She doesn't know the story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get goosebumps now that you're talking about. I got goosebumps. Even on my head. Oh, the growl is very bad. My goodness. Yeah, it's very deep.
So I found that for the people that hunt leopard, a lot of them end up with scars, and it's a wound that carries a lot of bacteria, and the actual damage that the leopard is causing is oftentimes less scary than the follow-on infections. You mentioned something about lion saliva.
Yes, no. So lion saliva is notoriously bad. If you just get the saliva on your hands, say you've touched the mouth or something like that, and you eat an apple or you eat something and you haven't washed your hands, you get diarrhea like you will not believe.
Crazy.
And it's quick. The diarrhea comes on quickly. So anybody that's like in that situation, they'll say, well, listen, even if you get it on your hands, strong soap, wash your hands before
Yeah.
you do anything.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, things I would not have guessed. Buffalo, Cape Buffalo,
I got lots of them.
yeah, they kill more hunters than any other animal in Africa.
Yeah.
We've seen some tremendous bulls on this place. Easily the most beautiful Cape Buffalo I've ever seen in my life. You know, granted, I've only hunted here twice now, but I've got to look at a pile of buffalo.
Mm.
These bulls are gorgeous. They have got it all. They've got big, hard bosses. They've got mass that carries way out. These huge, sweeping, beautiful, symmetrical black horns that glisten in the sun. And one of these bulls that we rolled up on had a cow that I think was in heat.
Yeah, he was grumpy.
And he was not okay with us being there. And he kept like coming out of the brush and tossing his head back and forth. And I could see like slobber coming out of his mouth. And it's like a, you know, it's just a nightmare on hooves. I mean, they're so grumpy and powerful and capable.
Yeah.
What tends to go wrong when these hunters are getting killed by buffalo? Like what's that fatal mistake, or can it be boiled down to something as simple as that?
It's a variety of things. You got to keep in mind that 95% of buffalo won't charge you. It's that 5% that maybe were pressurized or something went wrong. So I got a couple of stories of buffalo. So the one buffalo that I'll tell you about, we have guys working out here, and one of our staff got mauled is probably the best word. Got gored by the buffalo. That's the right word. And I saw him as I was taking the kids to school, and I saw him standing and he was crying, and I was like, "What's going on?" He said, "No, a buffalo gored him." I was like, "What? How's that even possible?" So we took him to the doctor, and I said he had no scars on him, he had no cuts on him, nothing, but you could see clearly he was in pain. So I said to him, "Listen here, don't tell them that you were gored by a buffalo. Say you've fallen off a roof, because you've got no cuts and scars. They're not going to. So if you've fallen off, they have to X-ray you so we can see if you've got cracked ribs and all this type of thing." So I don't want to make the story too long, but we bring him back from the hospital, and he's got 2 cracked ribs, and his hip is very badly bruised. And when a buffalo gores you, you normally lose everything. When I mean that, it's you lose if you're wearing a hat, it's gone. If you're wearing a backpack, it's in a tree somewhere.
Yeah.
Your shirt's torn, your pants are torn. It's just a mess. So we went back to go and retrieve his clothes and jacket and stuff like that, because it was winter. And I said, nobody's hunting. There's nothing going on. Well, it must have just been a freak accident. But I have this little voice in the back of my head, and this little voice said to me, "Sean, take the big gun with." So, okay.
What's the big gun?
The 470 Nitro.
470 Nitro. And,
Yeah.
and what kind of bullet does it shoot?
I shoot Woodley 500.
500 grain Woodleys.
Yeah.
That's a lot of sauce.
Takes meat on both ends.
Yeah.
The recoil is decent. No, the recoil's not so bad, but it makes your cheek vibrate a little bit. So I take 2 bullets, and I'm in jeans. I'm not in any. You have to get your mind ready it's like going into a boxing match. I take it.
Yeah.
You have to get your mind ready. And I'm just la-di-da, I'm going to go and fetch his backpack and stuff. And I took 2 bullets. And that same little voice to me said, "Choose too few. Take some more." So I listened to that voice. So I take another 2 and I put it in my pants, and off we go. So we're driving, and I say to him, "Right, where did this happen?" So he takes me to the area, and I stop.
As this guy's like holding his ribs.
Yeah,
in.
he was his cell phone. He lost his phone and everything. Screen was cracked. I had to buy him a new phone. And I get there, and I said to him, "Where did it happen?" He said, "Over here." I said, "Come show me." He said, "I'm not getting off this cruiser." And I said, "I completely understand, no problem at all. Just wait, you just guide me into it." He says, "No, just behind that bush over there." So I'm walking.
This is a smart man.
Yeah,
he's,
no,
he's
look,
learned some things.
He could hardly walk, so I completely understood. So I get out. I've got, and my dogs are always with me. I take the dogs with me, and I put 2 bullets in my 470, and I got 2 in my pocket. And I'm walking, and the breeze is drifting in all directions, and I'm trying to look for these things. The next thing I hear him screaming, "It's coming!" And I'm like, oh, shoot. And I'm listening, and I'm in a little drainage ditch, and I can just hear brr-doop, 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 as it's cantering. And it's coming straight into the wind, and I peep out of this little, you guys call it a draw.
Yeah.
I peep out the draw, I see, oh, shit, it's real, this is real. And it's coming straight into the wind to me. I haven't even seen it, so it's just in a really bad mood or whatever's going on. So I'm thinking I'm going to run back to the van, to my Land Cruiser. I start running, and I probably make it like 3 strides, and I look back, and it's not at 40 yards anymore, it's like 25 yards. And a lot happens in a very short time. Like, it feels like 5 minutes, but this whole story is probably like 45 seconds long.
Yeah.
And I'm running with this big gun, and I think, if this buffalo kills you with this big cannon, your friends will tease you until they die.
Yeah.
So you better stand now. So normally when my mind's not there, everything has to align really quickly. So I think, okay, this bull's coming straight towards me. It's got to run through the draw to get to me. It's going to be slow on the uphill, and I'm on my own completely. I have 4 bullets. So I'm going to shoot him on that side of the draw. It'll slow him up. And then I'm going to shoot him as he's coming up the draw because he's going to be slower. All this in 30 seconds. I don't know. I was never this good at school, so I don't know how I'll work that out.
Those emergencies allow us to think so much more quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything goes into slow motion. It's a massive survival mechanism.
Its adrenaline is amazing.
Yeah.
So I pumped him the first shot in his, I aimed for his throat because I just wanted to slow him down. And I knew I wouldn't drop him because he's running, and he's running into a draw, and it's very like loose rocks and stuff. So I shoot him, poof, and he spins just exactly like I wished. And my dogs take off, poof, run straight to him. But now, and they're barking, rah, 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 and I shoot another shot. And I reload, and I'm moving backwards at the same time because I'm trying to give myself a bit more space. And he had spun with my dogs there. He didn't care about my dogs running on either side of him, barking and trying to nip at him and stuff. He didn't. He was coming straight for me. Put the 2 other bullets in, and I shoot. And I shot him. The third shot, I shot him between the horn and the eye because he's now really close. That was 13 yards. And he dropped, poof, and he rolled. And I was waiting for my dogs to get out the way. He rolled onto his side, and I sent the 4th one into his chest. Now, and then I ran like hell to my Land Cruiser.
Yeah, you're out. You're out. You're out. You're empty.
I get to my Land Cruiser. There's nobody there. My tracker with a broken ribs and completely damaged hip. He's disappeared. I don't know if he thought the buffalo is going to jump on the cruiser or what. And I'm calling, "Hey, where are you? And I hear a faint voice from about half a mile away. "Yes, I'm here." I said to him, "How did you get there?" He says, "I'm not sure." I just ran. When I heard the buffalo growling, because they make a growling bellow, and you shouting and the dogs barking and the gun going off, I just said, "No, Jesus is coming for him. He's running." he got the hell out of Dodge. And it was a big old bull. So we came back and we're skinning him, and I was trying to work out now what's going on here. And we found that it had a cracked vertebra.
Yeah.
And the vertebra was cracked probably from a fight, and it was infected, and that's why he was grumpy.
Yeah.
And so when you're going into this big game, and this is what often happens with the guys that get hurt by buffalo, is you've come to do one thing, you don't know what's happened to that animal. It's been bitten by a lion like the zebra we saw today,
right?
Or it's been in a fight or something else. It might have a sore tooth or an abscess or something. There's a lot going on in nature. Nature's way crueler than we give it credit.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that's often the case. A friend of mine, they were not even hunting buffalo, and a buffalo hit him from the side, and they found that the buffalo had a snare on his foot. So when you're in those type of areas, you just got to be prepared, really.
Yeah.
It happens so fast.
Another time this week, we were going through an area, and you looked over and you pointed to this tree, and you said, "A buffalo put me up that tree right there." And I said, and tree is an overstatement. And I said, that one right there, and you go, "Yeah, it wouldn't hold you."
Yeah, no, it wouldn't hold you. No, it's the wobbliest tree I've ever been in.
So tell me that story.
So, we're hunting, and we shoot the buffalo. The 5 buffalo come out. I shoot the buffalo.
All bulls, like dogger bulls?
Yeah. No, it's quartering 2. And we shoot the buffalo, quartering 2, good shot. And then the buffalo is running in front, then it's second, then I said, don't shoot. And it's not far. We shot the first shot about 45, 50 yards, and then they ran quartering like towards us, but up a little ridge.
Mm-hmm.
Then it was second. I said, don't shoot. And when it was at the back, I said to the guy, shoot. And he didn't lead it enough, and he shot it a bit far back.
Yep.
And that's not a very nice one when they get a bit far back, but at least we had one shot, a good shot. So I said, okay, fine, here we go. And said to the guys, listen, just hang back. There's too many people. Got to go in really quietly, because if they don't know that I'm there and they concentrate on my dogs, then it gives me more of a chance. And I don't hunt buffalo without a dog. Lots of places you can't hunt with dogs. In this thick bush here, it just gives me an idea where the buffalo is.
And your dogs are with you all the time. They're with you on the stalk.
Yeah.
They're with you from the moment that the hunt begins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I get in my Land Cruiser, my dogs get on my Land Cruiser. When I get off, they get off. You never know what's going to happen.
And when you go to town, your dogs go with you and walk around town with you.
Yeah. My dogs are like part of me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody knows I have dogs and I like dogs. And I'm at the change of guard at the moment. I've got 2 old dogs that are retiring that have been with all the buffalo that I've hunted. And I've hunted close to 80 buffalo, I'd say, maybe a bit more. And I'll have to check what the numbers are. And now we're changing the guard, and that's where Trigger and Summer are coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And they were there. Trigger and Summer were there with this buffalo.
Oh, Trigger was there.
Trigger was there.
Yeah, we'll talk about Trigger in a minute, too.
Doofus, yes.
Yeah, we need an ode to Trigger.
Trigger is really nice. And they were getting stuck in there. So I snuck in, and it was in a thick, really thick bush. I couldn't see far, like 15 yards. And I snuck quietly in there, and I knew the buffalo was in the bush because I could hear it, like, wanting to charge the dogs, but not coming out the bush. And the dogs in like a half circle there. And eventually it came out enough, and I could give it a good one behind the shoulders. But now the adrenaline is through the roof. The buffalo's adrenaline, and they don't even acknowledge that they've been shot at that time.
Yeah.
So, then it runs, and my dogs are after it again. But I don't, and it had a great blood trail. You could follow it from 3, 4.
So did you get a shot into him there?
Yeah, I got a shot into it there. And then I was walking on like a little rock edge, and it was below us, and I could see it going around.
Because you kind of want to keep some high ground if you can.
Always keep the high ground keeps you gives you more time.
Yeah.
And I could see it circling in front. Now, what a buffalo does, and this is the second time it's happened to me, is a buffalo will go on its trail, and then as soon as it sees something's up, it makes like a half moon, and it comes and waits on its trail to see who's trailing it.
Yep.
And it happened to me with a big bull up in those mountains in the southern side, and then it happened to me with this one. And so I was just like, get out, back out. So I went around, got another way, and I climbed into this massive tree. My feet were probably 4 feet off the ground. And with the weight of me in the tree is swaying like this. But I needed higher ground because it's so dense. And my dogs are starting to get a bit nervous now because it's carrying on a bit longer and the buffalo's charging them and stuff like that. So then I started talking to my dogs to egg them on, because they're like, yes, where's Dad? He's not here. I don't know if I'm their coach or what they refer to me as, but where is he? He's not, normally he comes and he helps us within this situation. I'm taking a bit long. So I climb in the tree and I start talking. Jeez, and this buffalo came straight. And I shot out of the tree, shot down. I can't remember exactly how far it was, but it wasn't much further than that little table there. 10 yards maybe.
Yeah, a couple yards.
Yeah, max 10. And with the recoil of the gun, I'm swaying even more in this tree here. And then it spun around. I shot it, because I'm higher, shot it in here between the shoulder blades and the top. And then it spun around, and then it ran off. And then I followed up again, and I couldn't see it, and it was really dense bush. And when we found it, it had reversed into a bush. My dogs bark when it's still moving. When it's not moving, they stop barking. And they'd stop barking. Now we're trying to find it, trying to find it, but everybody's still on high alert. Well, I'm the only one on the ground. And asked the clients to stay out because it's too dangerous. And it had reversed into the bush, and I had walked right past it. But luckily, the shots had counted, and the shots had done their job.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's an exciting morning.
I upped my life insurance after that.
Literally.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. On the drive back, I was like, no, I have to up my life insurance. Start phoning. This is getting too much.
That's funny. Were you shooting your 470 on that one?
No, I wasn't. That's the big problem. I was shooting a 375. 470 with my first shot.
Yeah.
Would have knocked it. Would have done more than.
Do all of your big rifles have iron sights?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The 470, the iron sights are really, really accurate. I'd like to try a red dot and trial it, but not in the field yet.
Yeah.
You know, too many. I need to. Hello, Summer. I need to first test it and see how it works, and I'm not very clued up in the red dot sights.
Yeah.
A lot of guys are using them, and with great results. And I'd like to. Yeah, I'm going to try.
So if I were to summarize it, and please tell me if I'm wrong, I'd say that as a client or as a hunter, you need to be really good at shooting 200 or 300 yards. As a PH, you need to be really good at shooting 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The PH, the professional hunter, our job is to get you into within your range and to make sure that the animal doesn't get to you.
Yeah.
That's what we're there for.
Yeah. And I think when people are looking at hunts, especially if they're looking at a dangerous game hunt like buffalo or, elephant, leopard, anything like that, you need to not only look at the area and, the animals that are there, the accommodation, stuff like that. You need to know that the PH that you're going with is a person who is willing to step between you and that thing that's trying to kill you.
Yep, exactly.
That's a big ask. Like, ultimately, this is a service industry job. If I'm at a restaurant and there's danger coming my way, I don't expect a waiter to step in there and be like, no, I'm going to take this on for you. You just sit back and, enjoy your hamburger,
You're reminding me of a story I'm going to tell you now.
Yeah, but it's a really big ask to say, hey, this thing that's killed more hunters than anything else in the history of this continent, it is coming because it's wounded and it's mad and it's trying to kill something, and that something is you. And say, hey, guy that I hired, can you please step in here and save my life?
Yeah. Fix my mistake.
And put your life at risk in doing so.
Yes.
So I think that's something to consider for people who are looking at booking a hunt. Like, are you booking it with somebody who's going to do that for you?
Yeah, absolutely. That reminded me of a story. We had an incident with a buffalo. I won't make it too long and bore you.
No, please do.
Oh, okay. So it was last night. We'd been hunting for a while, and the client was leaving the next day, and it was with another PH. It was his client, and he wasn't a dangerous game guide. I'm a dangerous game guide, so I went with and led the hunt for him, and we got the buffalo at just a little bit before last light, and I saw the buffalo and I saw a nice bull there, and I said to guys, okay, we're going to go quietly and we sneak in here. Snuck in, but one cow saw us and ran and stopped. And then I was standing a little bit like a meter to the left. I had my 470 shooting a 375, and got the guy on the sticks, and it was about 35, 40 yards, and he couldn't see the buffalo bull. He could see the cows, but not the bull. And then they moved away, like turned and ran away. And I made like a calf call, like a calf distress call. And I said to him, listen, when that thing comes now, it's coming. Because they're a little bit stressed now because they've just seen us and they're not 100% sure what we are because the sun was in their eyes and the wind was in our face. And I made that calf call. That bull came running around the corner there and came stood here at about 25 yards. I said, shoot. It's not the best shot to shoot a buffalo from straight on because if you shoot too low, it hits the brisket in those ribs and then it runs around the side. You have to shoot like if you make a fist below the mouth, then you get good penetration. And the guy flinched so hard, he shot next to the foot of the buffalo.
Uh-oh.
At 25 yards. So the buffalo tears off. And I make another calf call again, just as a Hail Mary.
Yeah.
And it stopped and it turned, and he shot a perfect shot at about 60 yards.
Yeah.
So into the thick bush, and the whole herd scatters and everything like that. Said the guys, okay, wait, just give it a few minutes, just listen. But now it's getting really dark. You can see, but it's getting really that hazy dark. So said the guys, okay, wait outside. Said the junior PH, you stay here. Well, it's his first ever buffalo hunt. Said to him, you wait here with the trackers. I'm going to go in. Got the client behind me, but I'm in front with the dogs. So the dogs walk in front of me, so they like my buffer screen. I know I've got about 10, 15 yards around me where I'm safe. And I go through the bush, and I see something dark, and we back out very quietly, and we go through, and I can see it. And the next thing, the bush just explodes. And this buffalo bull breaks out and tries to scoop one of my dogs. And I saw it was the bull, but there were other bulls in the herd, and I didn't want to shoot because just now I shoot the incorrect buffalo. In hindsight, I should have shot that bull and it would have been a bit better, but it all happened so fast. And the buffalo does that growling bellow that it does. The dogs are barking and yelping because the buffalo got very close to the one dog. And I said to the guys, come out, get out of here. It's getting too dark and it's too tricky. And because as that all happened, I could hear the rest of the herd coming back. You can hear them walking through the bellowing, like they make like a sound as they're coming through the bushes. The bushes are cracking and breaking. They're all coming back because of that bull's bellow. So we get out, and I see there's nobody here. Where's the PH? Yeah, they come walking from around the bush because I called. Said, where are you guys? And they had taken off when they heard the buffalo bellow.
Yeah.
They were taken off. My tracker said to me, because the PH is a little bit plumpy, he said, everybody calls me Mambo. Mambo means chief. Mambo. We had no idea this fat man was that fast. That PH overtook them. He was at the back. He overtook those trackers. He was the first one at the Land Cruiser. They said, oh, Mambo, that fat man is fast. We had a good laugh. Even that PH laughed about it. Yeah.
So were you able to sort out the buffalo?
Yeah, so what we did, it got too dark. And then the guys had to catch their flight and stuff. So I said, listen, be at first light tomorrow morning and we'll go in. So first light went in, and 5 yards from where it scooped the dogs, or tried to scoop the dogs, it died there.
Nice.
Yeah, so it only went like 40 yards, and that charge on the dogs was the last thing it did.
Yeah.
It took its last energy there.
I've found that people often don't flinch on their second shot.
Yeah, that's actually true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the flinch is the anticipation that builds up in those moments leading up to the shot, and people get in their heads a lot, and that next shot that they take oftentimes is really lethal, even though it's always a less ideal shot. A lot of times the animal's moving, it's almost always farther away.
Yeah.
The shooting position is eroded in one way or another. But for whatever reason, I think that we just can't develop the anticipation required to flinch as bad. I've just oftentimes seen that, and I've seen it with myself too.
Yeah.
I'm not immune from that. I flinch. I think almost everybody that shoots flinches a little bit.
Yeah.
it takes a huge amount of concentration for me to not do it. And like even meditation, like on my Nyala that I shot, that was a shot that was a long ways. It was 480 yards. That's a long shot for me.
Great shot, Joe.
And we had time there because those bulls were obscured by brush, and I just needed to calm myself down a little bit. So I kind of went through the breathe up routine I do before I dive, and I was watching on my Garmin watch and watching my heart rate come back down, and as I could see that number decreasing, then that gave me confidence that I was kind of restoring my own calm, and then was able to settle in and make that shot.
I heard you breathing there. I could see that was what you were doing. That's so true. What I often do when I'm shooting myself is your first initial thought is to rush.
Mm-hmm.
Then I always say to myself, just slow down.
Yeah.
Think about it. Take a breath. Okay, now do what you need to do.
Yeah.
And then you get it done.
That fear that it's about to get away
Yeah.
causes a lot of bad shots.
Yeah, that also makes you, as soon as you, like that fear that it's going to get away, you rush the shot. You might only just, you see the animal in the scope, but your crosshair's somewhere way off.
Yeah.
You just see the animal, you're like, bah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, so.
Okay. So one of your dogs that we've been talking about a little bit is Trigger.
Yes.
I love Trigger so much.
Yeah, he loves you too.
Yeah. Bavarian Mountain Hound.
Yes.
And he's young.
Yeah, he's about 15 months.
Yeah. Beautiful dog. So sweet.
Yeah.
Loves his job.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. But he's young and he's eager, and sometimes he loves it a little bit too much, and volunteers for jobs that are not what he should be doing at
not
the
where he should
time.
be yet. Yes.
Yeah. So we were impala hunting the other day, and Matt and I both connected on some nice impala rams. Beautiful area, last light, sunlight just glowing. It was so gorgeous. And then we hear, and then there goes Trigger chasing something.
Yeah, chasing his own impala.
Yeah.
Yeah, he also wanted
He
one.
wanted to go impala hunting too. And you're like, oh, he'll be back. And he was with another dog.
Puma, yeah.
Yeah. So, we take our photos, field dress the impala, get him loaded up, look around, no Puma, no Trigger. Start driving, and you're like, oh, they heard the shots, heard the truck, they should be back. But you also trust your dogs to figure it out too.
Yeah.
So we drive on back, about an hour and a half drive. This is a huge property.
Yeah.
Get on back here, and you're like, oh, they'll be here in the morning. Next morning, wake up. There's Puma
Lying at the swimming pool on the couch.
Yeah. No Trigger.
No Trigger.
And you're like, oh, he'll sleep for 3 days. He's hiding someplace,
He knows he was naughty.
And we look around, no Trigger, and then that becomes part of our mission. It's like, we're going to go find Trigger. And I could tell that you didn't want to take away from our hunting time and looking for your dog, but Matt and I both love dogs more than anything. So we're like, hey, we would rather go try and find your dog than anything else.
I really appreciated that.
Yeah. And so this is 3 days of Trigger absence. We're all getting nervous. I'm thinking maybe the baboons got him, a leopard got him. Maybe he got out and got hit on the highway. We go drive the highway to see if maybe he's hit there. My stomach is just in knots, looking for this dog. And then you get a message with a picture.
Yeah. See, again, everybody knows that I have dogs, and everybody knows my dogs.
Yeah.
So another farmer down the way, he sent me a message saying, hey, I've just seen a photo of your dog. Is your dog missing? I said, yeah, he's missing. No, they found him from where we were 5 kilometers in another direction. I don't know how he got separated from Puma.
Yeah.
He went and did his own thing, or Puma turned. I don't know what happened. I wish I could talk. But we got him back. He was very sulky until he saw us, and then he's like, oh my goodness, these are my people.
Yeah.
And then he sat on your lap for, what was it, half an hour?
Hours, yeah.
Just
hours,
getting hugs.
yeah. No, he did it again last night. He fell asleep on top of me, and it's like, it's just a sweet little baby, you know? He's just so tired. But no, you've got a great relationship with your dogs, and they really understand the task. And because you can use them here, the way that you use them is unlike any other situation I've seen where the dogs are literally with you from, the moment that we leave the lodge, and they're on the stalk. Because it's brushy country and they're low to the ground, they're not blowing these stalks at all. Like nothing's seeing them that can't see us already.
Yeah.
And they're hugely helpful. Hugely helpful.
Yeah, especially so. It takes a lot of training to keep them so that they learn them to stay at me. And you hear when I'm walking, I just go, tsk, and then that means, hey, you're too far ahead of me, get ya.
Yeah.
And when you guys are going on the sticks, then I call them back so that that their ears are fine, and we all shoot suppressed in any case. So that's really good. And then the thing for me is also, you've seen how animals vanish in this bush.
Yeah, instantly.
Yeah, you can see a kudu. We're walking there, and the next thing is like it's just gone. And then we sit there for 40 minutes, 25 minutes glassing, and you can't see where this animal's gone. So what the dog's also very useful for, when you shoot a great shot and it's down, you saw with the nyala.
Yeah.
We have to walk across to that canyon to find it, and it might take 20, 30, 40, 50 minutes to find that animal, because we had to walk there, and our marker was this bush, but there's another bush, and there are lots of bushes, and then you just say to the dogs, "Where's he?" And then the dogs will. You're the dog here playing with whatever you're looking for. It was she found both the nyala, Summer, and Trigger. Trigger and Summer found the other nyala. So it just saves you a lot of time.
Yeah.
And time, it might be cliche to say, it's some guys don't have the patience to be able to look for the animal and it just makes it easier for us, because your cape, it's caped out, the meat is clean.
Yeah.
It gets hot here.
Yeah.
It gets cold at night and it gets hot in the day. And if the meat's out there, then it goes sour, and we use the meat.
Right. The clock is ticking as soon as that animal gets shot. So the quicker you can recover it, the quicker you can get it back here to the cooler, the better the meat product is, and the better the hide and everything else is. Yeah. No, I think it's awesome. Have you ever been in any sporty situations while elephant hunting?
Yeah. We were hunting elephant in Caprivi, and it was just a management hunt. The elephant numbers are out of hand a little bit, and we were doing a management hunt just to reduce numbers. So we were hunting, and the client was shooting, and he shot with a 375 double. It's the same one in the one we have in the safe, and he shot a great brain shot, and it dropped. Poof. But in his adrenaline, he opened the double, and it has ejectors, and it ejected his rifle, both casings out, the shot and the unshot one, because it just ejects. And instead of, but this is what adrenaline does to people. And instead of shooting the first shot and then the backup shot, and then everything's over. And we were concentrating on this elephant here, and out of the blue, another elephant spun around and came through. We didn't even see it. We just heard. And it came through a gap in the bush. And a good friend of mine, a really good friend of mine, I'll go and hunt elephant with this friend of mine blindfolded. He dropped that elephant at 3 yards. The trunk was stretched out, and it was 1 step away from where he was.
Wow.
Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, that was a crazy one.
Today we got to see some elephants.
Yes.
And I had an elephant walk within 3 yards of me. He was picking up dust as he was going past, throwing it back up into his neck, into his ears. I've got a video of this up on Instagram right now. You can go back and look at it. You can hear the rocks and the dust from that bull picking it up off the ground and throwing it. But what you cannot hear are his footsteps.
Yeah.
And this is an animal that weighs 15,000 pounds at a distance of 3 yards, and you can't hear him walking. It is unbelievable.
Yeah.
So when you can hear them because of the brush that they're breaking.
That's a different sound.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't know where they are. You see there, what happens is, as an elephant walks, its foot expands, and
Yeah.
any little branch or twig under there, it muffles it. Yeah, when he threw that dust and stones up like that, it hit the window,
Yeah,
and that was 10 times louder than the sound of
easily.
him walking past. It was
Incredible.
just so like a soft shuffle.
Yeah, yeah. They're as quiet as a bear.
Yeah, and your face after that was priceless.
Well, I mean, if you don't like have some kind of feeling about being that close to an animal that big, like check your pulse. Dude.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I can do that all day long.
Yeah, that was absolutely incredible. Getting to observe those elephants and those family groups. You know, there was one point where these two calves were playing with each other, and one of them was being a bully straight up, and he was pushing this other calf down into the pond. And you said, "Watch this. He's about to get disciplined." I was like, "Okay, I'll watch." And sure enough, he did it again, and another elephant came over there, trumpeted, and pushed him away with his trunk and straight up scolded him for being a bully to that other calf.
Yeah.
It was so interesting. And, you know, elephants have tremendous personality. They live for a long time. I truly do understand how people can get feeling some kind of way about elephant hunting. What I would really wish that people understood is that there's a lot of areas where there are too many elephants. And what that means is that the elephants are causing there to be less food for themselves. And they're causing destruction to the vegetation that is going to take hundreds of years to fix. And if we don't hunt these elephants, then you're going to have a collapse of an entire herd through starvation. And damage that lasts for centuries to that ecosystem that will no longer be able to support those elephants. So I know where you're coming from when you say, I don't think we should hunt elephants. But I also need you to understand that if we don't, it will be worse for elephants. It'll be worse for the entire ecosystem and so many other animals and insects and birds. Like it's a big problem to have too many animals of this massive size that need to consume so much. And hunting is the solution to that problem. And the other stuff that they've tried, like chemical castration, and I mean, that's just not fair. It's just not fair to the species. It's wrong. It's unsustainable. It's too expensive. It's dangerous. Whereas hunting puts money back into the communities, it puts food into the communities, it relieves that pressure from the ecosystem. And I've known all this, but I got to see it today. I got to see an area that had too many elephants, and there wasn't a single large tree left in that entire area. It was all gone.
Yeah, nothing was taller than your shoulder.
No. That's going to lead to a massive problem that's going to take a long time to fix. So I want people to think about this and go do some reading on it and talk to some people who live here and talk to both sides. Talk to somebody who's opposed to elephant hunting who lives here. Talk to somebody who has experienced elephant hunting who lives here, and just try not to make decisions based off of something that you saw in American news or on Disney or on some paid-for science. Yeah.
Yeah, an important thing for conservation and keeping a species going is sometimes we have to take away the emotions.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to separate. It's not easy. But you have to do it. Separate the emotion and just look at the facts. And the facts are going to show you you're going to lose not only one species, you're going to lose. We have lots of species, 40, 50, 60 species of mammals here. And you're going to lose birds, you're going to lose insects, chameleons. You hardly see a chameleon. So it's one species that has a big impact on the ecosystem, but it affects all the way down to the smallest. And you have to just think about the facts and try and just keep the emotions at bay as best as you can.
Yeah.
And then I think when you pros and cons, and you work out the pros and cons, the income that is generated from the hunting gets put back into conservation, making the area bigger so that you can sustain more. And to me, I love elephant. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love elephant. But I also know, and I've done a lot of reading, research, studied this. This is what I've done for a long time. I know the impact. So it's probably a little bit easier for me to separate the emotions. But facts will get you there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's another species that has the potential to get dangerous while you're hunting here that maybe people don't think about as often?
Something that will surprise you is a warthog.
Yeah.
Goodness me.
Yeah, they have the capacity to really hurt whatever's in front of them.
You saw how sharp those bottom teeth are, like a razor.
They're amazing. And, the big tusks that you see are one thing, but those bottom tusks are sharpened every time they open and close their mouth.
Yeah.
And they are knife sharp and come to a sharp point. And if that warthog, who has a tremendously strong neck and back, can get that point into your leg and lift his head, you've got some very important arteries that are not going to stop that tusk.
No, our skin's thin. I've seen warthog back into a bush and fight off a lioness and 2 sub-adult lions.
Really?
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. There were guys with me, so they all remember it. But what happened with me, I've had a few, like warthog that's injured, or if you walk past a warthog with piglets, my goodness, they charge.
Yeah.
Sheesh. And I carry a 9mm, and the amount of warthogs I've shot with that 9mm charging me, 2-3 meters, what's that, 6 yards.
Yeah.
Goodness. And and it's not a big target to shoot.
No.
Yeah. So no, the warthogs have charged me, and I've shot them. I've had to shoot them. And then one of the strangest to me, okay, blue wildebeest. I know a few guys that have had a run-in with a blue wildebeest, and where they've had to grab the horns and carry on. And I know 3 guys that's happened to.
I've heard about this before. I've heard people call him the poor man's buffalo because of the aggression that they can show if they're hurt.
Yeah, and also they're very tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very tough.
They're built out of spare parts. That is a weird-looking animal.
There's nothing faster and more tough than a blue wildebeest with 3 legs.
Really?
Yeah, no, they'll show you. They're gonna test your stamina. Just they can travel. But what happened to me the one day is a waterbuck. Now we shot a waterbuck and it dropped, and the guys were walking closer. It was a guy and his boss walking closer, and I walk around, and I always approach from the side of the back.
Yeah,
it's just habit. You always approach from like the bum and the back, so you don't approach from the hooves, if that makes sense. If it's lying down. So I'm approaching. I'm about 10 yards ahead of them. They're about 10 yards behind me, but about 5 yards to my left, if that makes sense. And I don't know what happened, but that waterbuck jumped up, and it had its horns down. I was about 4 yards from it. And it jumped up and it had its horns down, but it didn't see me because of my approach angle. It saw them and went straight for those 2 chaps.
Oh, gosh.
And I can't tell you how I did it. I drew my 9mm, I loaded it, and I put 2 shots in that waterbuck. As it was coming past me, it came past it about 2 yards. Pop, pop, dropped it. Amazingly. I can't tell you how I did it. No idea. I look back, there's only one guy there, the boss.
Uh-huh.
His employee is standing about 20 yards away. I said, are you guys okay? Are you guys okay? Everybody okay? Everybody okay? Yeah, no, I'm fine. And he looks at his employee. He said, what the hell did you do? He said, what do you mean? He said, you pushed me. The employee grabbed his boss and held him like a shield, then pushed him towards the waterbuck and made a run for it. And the boss said, my lizard brain just told me to freeze. I didn't think about running. And geez, we laughed. He said, don't tell my wife. Whatever you do, my wife must never hear about this. And then because of the adrenaline and everything. And then about 25 minutes later, the adrenaline subsided. He said, okay, no, I'll tell my wife, but otherwise she won't allow me back. That was very unexpected. I'd never had that. I didn't expect that from a waterbuck.
And these antelope that have the horns that sweep back, I never had thought about this because, I just hadn't thought about it. That's for protecting them from the predators that jump on their back to try and kill them.
You're talking about sable.
Yeah.
That's so their horns, they can get up to like 40 inches. There are some that are a bit bigger, but that's not the normal. And then it curves back and it opens a little bit wider. So what happens, the lion will run and jump on their back and bite them, and that sable will just hook its horns back and stab that lion on his back, and the lion will let go. And those stabs can be fatal, if it goes into the lung, or, with a predator, an injury is fatal. If you're injured, you can't walk, you can't hunt, and if you can't hunt, you can't eat.
Yeah.
So it's an injury could be something that might be minor, porcupine quill in the foot, sounds minor. That could be the end of a leopard. So, like I say, nature's way crueler than we could ever be.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a toothy world out there.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, Sean, I can't thank you enough for the time that I've had here. Folks, we've got a bunch of pictures up on Instagram between Matt Harding and myself. You can check those out and read the captions to get some little stories. We're going to have a longer length film coming out on YouTube, and I'll let you know on Instagram when that's available. We're working on the edit right now. We've had a great videographer with us all week, Simon. He's been doing an amazing job. Daniel's been filming as well, also doing an amazing job. Yeah, you've treated us like family. And I'll be very sad to be leaving here tomorrow, and looking forward to finding a way to come back.
Absolutely. No, you guys are amazing, Ian. We had a great time. The nice thing about this is what people sometimes probably forget is you make new friends, and we learn things. I've learned things from you guys. You guys have learned things from us. It's sharing knowledge. It's camaraderie. And when you leave tomorrow, two of my friends are leaving tomorrow. You know, you guys clearly straight up.
Yeah. No, feel the exact same. And I can't wait to see somebody come out here and sleep on the ground in a tent, and listen to the baboons at night and wonder if that sound was a leopard, and wake up and watch the mist rise out of these valleys, and wait for the sun to pierce down through the brush, get in their spotting scope and their binoculars, find that kudu bull, and then figure out how to make a stalk and have an African experience that is a hybridization with the American hunting method. It's just something that hasn't been done.
I don't know of anywhere that does it.
And the folks that do that, especially at such a screaming deal, man, they're just going to have an incredible time. And there's no animal like a kudu.
Yeah. No, it's an icon.
Yeah. So, alrighty, sir. I reckon it's probably dinner time.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. Thank you very much, and thanks everyone for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you to everyone who has taken the time out of their busy lives to write a review for the show and share it with their friends. I'm extremely proud of how intelligent, engaged, and adventurous this audience is. Original music for the Six Ranch podcast is written and performed by Justin Hay. Art for the Six Ranch podcast was created by John Chatelain and digitized by Celia Harlander. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you again next week.